we are going to start from where we left last class. So we have this is Sarah's website with an on and off options for exhibitions, for about, for paintings. And we're going to create a little website. And I showed you how in Photoshop you can create the links. I'm going to show you now how you create it with Dreamweaver. It's actually, again, not mandatory, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So this is Dreamweaver, and I'm going to open my index, my HTML page that I created last class with Dreamweaver. And in Dreamweaver, I'm not going to tell you, honestly, what everything is about. I don't want to give you a ton of information. I honestly want to give you the minimum amount of information so that you get there. So if you know that these are going to be rollovers, and that means when you mouse over it, the image changes. Now, does anybody want me to show a rollover on the web, or is it clear what is a rollover? Raise your hand if you need me to show it. Okay. So if I know that this is what I would call the hot spot, means the area that when I mouse over changes, you want to have that hot spot selected. Then you want to go under Window, Behaviors, right here. It is right here. I have already done for you the rollovers to show you the end result. I'm going to delete them and redo them though, but I want to show you what you end up doing. Even though you don't see it when you do the procedure, and I'll show you the procedure in a minute, you're creating a piece of code that says on mouse over, swap image, and on mouse out, restore the image to be what it was. So I'm going to delete these by selecting it and hitting the minus sign. And what that might tell you is that if you want to create a rollover, you simply hold on to the plus sign. So if you want to add a rollover, you hold on to the plus sign. If you want to remove something you put there, you just select it and hit the minus. And the pretty straightforward, easily way to do it is just going through a swap image. So you go in Behavior, the Behavior palette, hold on the plus sign, go under Swap Image, and select that. This will show up, and it tells you what do you want to swap it with. And I'm going to hit the Browse button, go into that Sarah's website, under Images, and this one is Exhibitions, so I'm going to choose the Exhibitions over, that is red. Notice here that this path, the URL tells you, go in the folder called Exhibitions, choose the image called exhibitionover.gif. That's perfectly fine. And I'm going to say Open. And that's what it puts in there. Notice down here, this restore on mouse out. This box, if you check it, will create that extra line that says on mouse out, restore to the prior image. This preload images also is a little piece of code that says whenever the person goes onto this website, preload all the images behind the scenes. While it's viewing the home page, preload the images for all the other pages, and etc., etc. So it's a nice little way to speed everything up. So I would leave these checked and then simply say OK. I'm going to do the same thing 3 times so that you know it. You might retain it better. Again, I had prepared it for you, so I'm going to delete and then redo it. I'm going to go in the plus sign. I'm going to say Swap Image. That's painting, so I'm going to hit Browse. Go in that Images folder, choose Paintings Over. That is the red version of Paintings. Say Open and say OK. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing with About the Artist. Swap Image. Browse. I'm going to go and look for About Over. Open. OK. So I'm going to save it right now, Apple S. And another thing I want to show you is if you preview it right now, I'm going to double click. And the browser will launch, and that's why it takes a little longer sometimes. And then I can go in here. And sorry, my exhibition red has actually a misspelling. I forgot the X. That's why it looks like jumpy. You'll see paintings and about swapping the 2 images. And if the one is wrong, and I always tell you because hopefully you won't repeat them, right? It's a good way to learn. When you see a mistake, you say, I won't do that, or at least that's the way, it's sometimes the way I learn. So that's how you create rollovers in Dreamweaver. Now, if you try to do it, you'll see that your background will be white, and I'm going to show you really quick how to change the background that I already did. If you go under Modify Page Properties or Apple J, let me actually minimize this real quick. If you go in Modify Page Properties, or Apple J, one of your options here is to put the background color. So let's say I want to change the background color to something else. Remember, you have an eyedropper here that you can say, hey, I want it to be this blue, or I want it to be this one. So you can choose an eyedropper and even, you know, kind of go in and choose the color. I'm going to choose this nice rusty brown just for the sake of it, okay? And I'm going to say, okay. And now if I save it, you'll see that the background is the rusty brown. I'm going to refresh. Yay. So that's how you assign also a background color. By default, the background color is actually white. I don't like it. I tend to always want to do, I'm going to do Apple J right now. I always like to actually put the same background so you don't see the square, the same background that I chose in the Photoshop composition. So I'm going to take my eyedropper again. Oops, it's not showing up. I don't know why. And it doesn't seem to work. That's great. So, oh, there it is. Now it seems to, you know, sometimes software gets corrupted. Sometimes it shows, but it should show eyedropper on top of there. Obviously, the alternative is going through the colors here and say, okay, I want it to be this way or that way. Like I want it to be this, for example. But it's generally nice to know which color. It always works. So sorry, in this case, my computer seems to have a problem with it. But it always works. So I'm going to say apply, and it's going to be a lot closer. Another way to do it, guys, if you wanted to, you know, if this didn't work, if the eyedropper didn't work, is to go in Photoshop and say, okay, what's that color? And again, you go with the eyedropper, you sample it, and then you go double click in here, and you know that is CCCC, 4 C's and 2 9s right there. By the way, that's the hexadecimal color, and every time we go into web, we want to use the hexadecimal color that we have talked about. You know, the RGB is 204, 204, and 153. The equivalent hexadecimal color is this 4 C's and 2 9s. So now I'm going to go back in Dreamweaver, and this time when I do Apple J, I'm going to put 4 C's and 2 9s. Upper or lower doesn't matter because it's going to change it for you. Dreamweaver is pretty smart. So now if I do Apple S and I preview it once again, it should have the right color. There it is. So that's how you go after you did what you did last class, that is slicing everything in Photoshop, you can add the rollovers. About the links, I show you how in Photoshop, within Photoshop, when you're in the Save for Web interface, you can double click on the slice and it will allow you to do the link. But if you want to do it in Dreamweaver, it's as simple as going down here under the link field, under this is called the property inspector. You want to go in the property inspector, and under the link you can type it or you can click on here and browse to it. So that's how easy it is to do it in Dreamweaver. The only thing you need to know in Dreamweaver is to go in behavior and hold on the plus sign and say swap image and browse to the rollover image. And if you want to, you know, do the links in Dreamweaver, you can simply go and type in here or browse to that page in here. So that's pretty, you know, the Dreamweaver you need to know for the purpose of this class, pretty much. And I'm going to stop the recording and ask questions.